Hello, Fujifilm Goliath here, and today I'm going to do a quick review on the Fujifilm X100VI versus a $10 Nikon F50 camera. It's a film camera versus film simulation. Okay, let's do this. I have the X100VI, and I bought this for £1,600. I actually got a small discount on it because it was a return item. It's still fairly in mint condition. I programmed a Kodak Gold 200 film simulation in this, and so the pictures have come off from this camera. And the other camera I used was the Nikon F50 with the 50mm 1.8 lens, and again I put the Kodak Gold 200 in this camera, and I've taken identical images, and hopefully I can give you a side-by-side comparison of which is better. And that was $10 from a thrift store or a charity shop. So it works. There's a few specs in the dust sensor, but it doesn't affect the image. So these were the images I've taken over the course of 4 days in London 2 weeks ago. So it was a fairly cloudy day. There was no rain, and this image is from Camden Town, I believe, at the Camden Lock. So you can see that's both images fairly come out fairly sharp. Obviously you can tell the difference straight away. That's the Fuji camera has a sharper image, and the exposures are almost perfect. But again, the film stock, it looks quite pleasing to the eye, kind of vintage look, slightly out of focus in certain areas. The trees are not as sharp, and the colours are less saturated, but yes, definitely a classic 1970s look. And this looks like a modern photograph, digital photograph. It's quite obvious, and the detail is high, but generally you get a better feeling with the film negatives and cameras. So that's the first one. There's a huge difference between this one here. Obviously the colours are very different. I don't know what happened here. With the film camera, I'm kind of looking at the exposure meter all the time. Is it in exposure? Is it underexposed? Is it overexposed? So my attention is focused on getting the light meter accurately measured and balanced. And so I'm constantly fighting the shutter speed and aperture to get the right exposure. And with the Fuji, it's pretty much auto, and they're the advantages of having a modern mirrorless camera, is that it's more forgiving. You're able to take this snapshot quicker. I think we were standing at the traffic lights here, so I literally had 10 to 20 seconds to capture the moment at identical location, and yeah, the time was ticking. So I took the image first with the film camera, the Nikon F50, and then once the lights I feel like it was about to change, I got the Fuji camera out, and literally in 1 or 2 seconds the shot was taken. So this one probably took about 20 seconds adjusting the compensation and exposure, and this one probably took about 1 to 2 seconds, and I was back in, the cameras were back in the bag before I crossed the road. This is another one with the Camden lock. You can see the it's quite apparent that the images are, this feels more vintage. Obviously, I don't know what decade this was taken in, but you can look at this and you think, oh, it may be a modern day. The clothing, the detail indicates it's a modern picture, and this one looks like it could be 1980s, but obviously you're looking for detail for people, like what kind of camera he's carrying, and what clothes people are wearing. Are they in that era? So, but the general overall feel, it's very different. It's very close, but it's different. This is Chinatown in Leicester Square, and they got the Chinese New Year celebrations going on, and this is open top red bus which they've rebannered with the festivities, and it's quite vibrant. The red is quite vibrant on the Fuji. The program preset did suggest the R value and the B value based on Fuji X Weekly. The question is for you guys is, does it remind you of Kodak Gold 200? Or is that more reminiscent of Kodak Gold 200? Now, I haven't shot film for more than 20 years, so I don't know if the process has changed. Has the paper changed? Obviously there's difference between gloss and matte as well, so I have to take into account, and camera settings as well. Yeah, which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. This is one of my favourite images from the trip, because they were almost identical, which is what I'm trying to achieve with the Fuji X100VI, and vice versa. Can the Nikon F50 match the X100VI? So I try to get the image as close as possible. I like the composition of this image because it has leading lines, and there's a strip of umbrellas that leads to a focal point, and the borders itself is another leading line, and they're very close. I think this is one of the closest ones I've had throughout the trip. So yes, again, I did have some time to adjust the exposure, and I had to wait for an opportunity where people are not right in front of the camera, and yeah, really enjoyed that. Which one do you prefer? We enjoyed taking that shot. This is another close-up shot of the umbrellas. I try to emphasize the colors here, and yeah, the Fuji X100VI is vibrant, it's saturated, and if I was doing professional work, I'll go with the Fuji, just for the detailing. I feel like I can zoom into this photograph even more and get a clear image of what the writing is, and the detail of the umbrella. This one, I feel like on the Nikon F50, I feel like I've already maxed the image quality, but yeah, it's a different kind of feel. But the colours are similar. I wouldn't say they were the same, they were similar. This one's another close one. So the images here, it might not be apparent through my camera, through my video camera. I'm filming from my mobile phone, but the film stock is less saturated. Again, I couldn't tweak the JPEG image, and I do have a raw file image as well, which I can play about, but for the comparison, I didn't want to change any settings in the post-production. I wanted straight out of the camera JPEGs versus straight out the camera film processing. These are images of the lanterns of Chinatown, Leicester Square again. I thought this was a good sample to test the camera with for the lighting, because I had a strong light against the lanterns itself. I had a dark image at the back, and now my camera doesn't have matrix metering on the Nikon F50. I do have on the Fuji X100VI, but I've mimicked the settings as close as I can to the film camera. So whatever settings the Nikon F50 had, I tried to mimic that on the Fuji X100VI. So I didn't give it any additional advantage. And obviously, the certain situation, if they were too dark, I just put it on auto on the Fuji X100VI and let it calculate what the correct settings were. And yeah, I'm pleased with the photos, how it come out. Again, the sky is quite apparent. It's quite a deeper blue, and but the detailing is there, is thereabouts, and I've actually had to use the crop mode on the Fuji X100VI. So there's a digital crop. So normally it's a 35mm equivalent, a 23mm lens, but 35mm equivalent with a 50mm digital crop and 70mm crop as well. So I used the 50, but obviously the framing lines on the Nikon F50 is not 100%. So that's why you're seeing it tends to be zoomed in more, and there's tends to be more of a crop as well, because I believe the Nikon F50 has a 92% crop. Okay, this is taken indoors of a rose. So, and wow, desaturation. I don't know what happened with this one. This looked like more like a pink rose rather than a red rose. And yeah, for professional work it has to be the Fuji, but for vintage look, yeah, it's I do get the bokeh, I do get the colours to some degree, but obviously the contrast is less. I'm seeing a more washed out red and more faded green. The green itself looks like almost one colour, whereas I can see greens, there are various shades of green. So the greens are not as strong, the red's not as strong, and yeah, that's all I can say on that one. Again, same again, this is apparent here on the items set up for Chinese New Year. So you've got some Satsumas, you've got a leek, and you've got some red envelopes here. You can see this is more vibrant, but before digital came about, this was all we had, and this wasn't a problem. This is a rail chart used from one of my particular roles in my jobs and careers. Is I'm a colorist by trade, so I do use a rail shade card, and this is to help me communicate color with customers when we're identifying color swabs. I might take this a color wheel out and try to match the color visually by eye, and so this photograph highlights from identical settings, and it was taken in a light box, so it's a direct comparison of the color film stock versus film simulation, and this is completely washed out. It almost looks pastel colors in comparison, and this is more vibrant and more accurate to what I'm actually seeing by eye, and be interested to actually scan it in the spectrophotometer to see what the actual difference is. And I'm quite sure it will fail on the delta E greater than 1 on that one. This is taken in Covent Garden, and I do like these images. This is why I want to shoot film, because with the matte finish and the image of this photograph, with the lady as the subject in the background, and you got the man waiting for his coffee, and then you got leading lines towards the end with people walking towards us, and shades of light. So I like this photo. I like the composition, and I tried to mimic it with the Fuji X100VI. I think I've got the wrong setting. It does looks like a 35mm equivalent rather than the 50. And again, you got detail. The flooring itself has greater detail, so much that it almost distracts from the image itself. So I'm looking at the floor, I'm thinking, what's on the floor? Why is there darker patches on the floor? And whereas the film photo, it's kind of like almost blended in. The floor looks even, the wall looks even, and my main focus is the lady in the red jacket working on her laptop and the leading lines, and I get that film vintage look. So I think the idea is not to have everything in sharp focus. Maybe that's the old film look that we're trying to achieve, not just the colors but the sharpness as well. This was Covent Garden, sorry, this was Camden Town. So you can see the elephant. Again, the focal length was slightly wrong. I was in a rush. It was very busy on the side street, and having to take 2 cameras and same image, and I was starting to get funny looks by people walking by, thinking, what's the interest of this elephant, and why am I taking the photo of it twice with 2 different cameras? So I think I rushed the setting on this one. I kind of used the wrong focal length. I took a snapshot, and I think I guessed the exposure as well on this one. I think, it was it's 1 bar overexposed, and I thought, I'll just take the photo and get out of here, because I was blocking people on the street. So yeah, again, more vibrant colors in all the colors, but am I trying to mimic the film look, or is the film process in a way that it's not vibrant enough? Should I go back to the processing lab and say, I want glossy paper, and I want you to underexpose by a stop, use a different method, or do I tweak the digital image, the raw file, and scale it back down, desaturate it, so it's more film-like? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Olympic Park. This is near the Stratford Westfield, and again, I think I swapped the lens out for this one. I've taken the 35-70 f2.8 screw mount lens for this, and wow, look at the detailing and the image and exposure on this on the professional lens. It looks amazing. I love it. It's the detail is amazing, the colors, and the Fuji actually was underexposed, and it struggled to capture the light, and yes, the blues are more blue, but the shadow areas are too dark, and in the buildings almost invisible in this picture. I like this one much better, but I think this is also accurate to the colors. What do you think? I mean, do you prefer the better look, or do you prefer the accurate colors? This is two images of the narrowboats, taken from height. I'll try to zoom in as much as I can. I think I went 70mm on this one, 70mm on the Fujifilm X100VI. So yeah, it's even on a zoomed digital crop, the image is sharp and clear. Less so on this one, but I can still make out what's on the narrowboat. The colours slightly washed out, and I'm starting to see some fading on the sidewalk, and the water almost looks less one. I can't see the ripples as much. I can see the ripples clearly on the Fuji X100VI. Yeah. And the last one here, again another one of the Olympic Stadium, and they almost look two different photographs really. One's oversaturated and one's kind of under. I needed it somewhere in between really, but it was a bright day. I didn't play about with exposure compensation too much. I relied much on shutter speed and aperture. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. What is my next improvement? How can I improve the film comparison? Should I use different film in a different camera? Should I use different film stock? Should I use exposure compensation, different lens, vintage lens? How do I get that vintage look from a digital camera, and how do I make the film camera the best I can? Thank you very much, and see you in the next one. If you liked this video, give it a like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now.